When you think of long shots to make NFL rosters, you're typically talking about guys who went to small colleges but maybe dominated there with elite athleticism, quarterbacks working in grocery stores, raw players that grew up playing overseas, or insane athletes that played a different sport their entire life but just gave football a chance on a whim. Antonio Gates was a college basketball player and will one day enter the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He hadn't played football since his senior year of high school but was signed by the Chargers as an undrafted free agent. A truly remarkable story, and have the Chargers found their next Antonio Gates? He's one of the greatest long shot stories in NFL history. Kurt Warner, a Super Bowl winning grocer who had a shitty Lifetime movie made to honor his career.
Destiny, it belongs to the underdogs.
The guy who pick-sixed him in Super Bowl 43 was James Harrison, another undrafted long shot. Tony Romo, undrafted long shot. The NFL is littered with amazing stories of guys who nearly didn't make a team. Today I'm highlighting this year's most insane long shot players who made it to the NFL. That's good. Sports. Hey, today's episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Fitting, because we're talking about underdogs. Time is running out, though, for you to enter the Best Ball Mania 4 tournament. We're just a week away from the start of football season, and if you want to draft a few fantasy teams that could win you up to $3 million, you need to do it now. Same goes for their weekly winners contests. It's the same best ball format, but the payouts happen every single week. That means you have a chance to win $20,000 every single week this upcoming football season. Underdog also has added pick'em games here in Colorado. You have to have 4 players for your picks and guess higher or lower on their fantasy point totals. This just went live in Colorado, and I will be playing all year long and picking higher on every Rust stat. Use my code and link below, and Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. All right, let's start with Daniel Wheelen. The Packers released the most handsome punter in the league, Pat O'Donnell, in favor of the 24-year-old Irishman. Daniel Wheelen is the first Irish-born player to appear in an NFL game since Neil O'Donoghue, who played from 77 to 85. He was a kicker, which just goes to show you how hard it is for men with Irish heritage to make it to the NFL. In fact, Irish DNA may be the hardest barrier for any athlete with dreams of making it to the NFL to overcome. Daniel, you are an inspiration for all translucent skinned Irish kids out there. Now, in addition to not becoming an alcoholic like most Irish by the age of 15, Wheelen got his shot with the XFL DC Defenders. It's okay if I make fun of the Irish, right? I'm Irish, probably. Look, he was an all-pro in the XFL, becoming another great example of why the spring leagues are needed. He can kick field goals in a pinch and is a year removed from working at a spa folding towels. Go get him, you peaky blinder, you! Moving on, CJ Okoye. The longest shot to make an NFL roster this year was CJ Okoye, which is why he didn't officially make it. The Chargers released Okoye while cutting their roster down to 53. But there's still hope, and I'll tell you why. Okoye is a benefactor of the NFL's International Player Pathway Program, or IPPP, as any toddler calls it. A cool program the NFL started to help international players and prospects find a path to the NFL. Eagles starting tackle Jordan Mailata is one of the most successful IPPP players.
I said I'm dreaming.
Now, CJ Okoye got noticed at the NFL Africa camp and was named MVP there as an offensive lineman. Most of the guys getting looks right now are coming out of Nigeria, thanks in part to Osi Umenyora's effort to facilitate that. Now, the Chargers noticed CJ and brought him in this preseason, moved him to defensive line, and put his 6'6", 350-pound beautiful body to work. You may recall Okoye notching a sack in the Chargers' first preseason game, but wait, I left out the best part. Yes, that was his first ever NFL sack, but it was also his first ever football sack. Not his first sack in a pro game, his first ever football game. This was the first real football game he ever played in. Pretty hilarious. The guy who just got his first ever rep on defense sacked quarterback Stetson Bennett, who has taken more snaps than every NFL player combined. Now, CJ is so raw, he didn't even know what a sack was when he got it. While most guys wait to hear their name called on draft night, Okoye waited for an email invite to a Zoom call where his dream literally came true. Not since Jeffrey Toobin was caught jerking off on a CNN Zoom call have I been so excited to talk about Zoom.
I didn't think other people could see me.
You thought that you had turned off your camera?
Correct. I thought that I had turned off the Zoom call.
I know we get a little cynical about the NFL here, I more than anyone, but seeing how his teammates celebrated him and his accomplishments in the locker room after that game was very inspiring. This was CJ talking about the sack and his experience after it happened.
And night before the game, they were like, yo, you remember your sack dance? If you get a sack, you better do the dance. Looked straight to the sideline, and I saw my defensive room, like everybody in my defensive room going crazy. And I just remembered, like, I need to do my dance right now. Like, that was like a dream come true, you know?
He talked a bit about how tough growing up in Nigeria is, but has focused on discussing the positives of this opportunity the IPPP provided. One of the cool things about the IPPP, besides saying it, is you can keep a player that comes through that program on your practice squad without it counting to the total. So even though the Chargers waived him from the initial 53, they can bring him back. There are 16 practice squad spots plus an exempt 17th spot for IPPP guys. It will cost the Chargers nothing to keep him on the practice squad and continue to develop him, because God knows there will eventually be an opportunity for him on that injury-prone defense. Then we've got quarterback Tyson Bennett. Tyson Bennett is now QB2 in Chicago. This is a man who probably majored in disgusting English baking at Shephard Pie University.
Is this why you have the tattoos and your cool little scars and you go out and you take your smoke breaks? It's fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's just Shephard? A D2 school I still have never heard of. While folks in West Virginia may be very familiar with Shephard University, there have only been 6 guys from that school to ever get a shot in the NFL. Wayne Nelson is their pride and joy, and he entered the NFL back in 1979. Shout out to anyone in the comments who remembers him or the team he played for. My point? Shephard is not an athletic program that gets guys to the NFL. Now, there are D2 schools out there that do get players to the NFL. Ferris State is currently a big one. CSU Pueblo's rising. But Shephard is on the fringe of fringe schools. The only NIL deals they offer are promoting laxatives and condoms. Condoms for undersized penises. While there, though, Tyson Bennett simply lit it up. He completed 69.9% of his passes as a senior, scorching defenses to the Clayton tune of 41 TDs and 4,580 passing yards. He won games, leading the Shepherd Pies to a 43-10 record. He won all of these awards that don't mean anything because the NCAA hasn't figured out how to make money off of Shepherd U yet. He totaled over 17,000 passing yards by the time he finished his college career. His 159 passing touchdowns is the most by a college QB ever, surpassing Case Keenum's 155. He's 6'3" and the definition of consistent. So the Chicago Bears signed him as an undrafted rookie to compete with Nathan Peterman and PJ Walker, who has been an NFL backup for a couple seasons and started games with the Carolina Panthers after the 2020 XFL gave him his long shot opportunity. This preseason, Bennett took full advantage of his opportunities in Chicago and earned himself not just a roster spot, but spot as QB2. And unlike Nathan Rourke, who the Jags cut, Tyson hasn't had that one insane play that stands out that everybody talks about, or put together perfect game after perfect game like Aiden O'Connell. But I think he fits the offense best if Fields goes down. Hell, he only completed 50% of his throws in the preseason finale. Oh wait, maybe, yeah, he is a good fit for Fields. Tyson rushed for 2 touchdowns this preseason, extended some plays, and has that unknown ceiling that's alluring. I'm not suggesting he's the next Kurt Warner, but let's be honest. The style of football that Justin Fields plays right now suggests Tyson has a legit chance to start some games in Chicago.
Pressure on Fields. Oh, the helmet came off.
Finally, the most unlikely long shot, Lou Hedley, the man from Down Under. Down Under. Down Under. The 30-year-old rookie. That's the man I'm talking about. Yes, the NFL has a 30-year-old rookie not named Stetson Bennett. He's actually 50. Meet Lou Hedley, who once owned a tattoo shop in Bali. And safe to say, he sampled the product there a lot. He co-owned that business simply so he could surf and get more tattoos. To which I say, fuck yeah. Lou's from Western Australia, where there's Perth and a big rock, and literally nothing else. Lou's a high school dropout who grew up in a town of less than 400 and has worked as a scaffolder and a cray fisherman. 2 jobs that sound really, really hard and not conducive to helping you learn to punt. A dirty job that prepared a man for an NFL roster spot? Where have I seen this before? Oh yeah, the garbage-picking, field-goal-kicking Philadelphia phenomenon starring Tony Danza, who strengthened his leg by kicking the hydraulic lever on his garbage truck every day. Then he signed with the Philadelphia Eagles and probably won them a big game. Beauty and the Beast was a more believable Disney storyline than this, until the arrival of Lou Hedley. Lou pursued footy in Australia, which is Australian rules football, and landed with the Peel Thunder in the Australian Football League. He enrolled in Pro Kick, which helps Australian kickers get placed in college programs. He began his American punting journey at the City College of San Francisco for a brief stint there, which opened the door for him to land a spot with the Miami Hurricanes. It was a huge deal when he signed with Miami, mostly because we're not used to seeing a guy with neck tattoos play punter. He bucked the trend, looking like the one guy you wouldn't want to fuck with on a team. Usually the punter is the guy you single out to fight. Yeah, I'll take him, guys. He punted all 4 seasons in Miami, averaging 45.2 yards per punt and a spot on the 2022 All-ACC team. In 2020, he helped Miami beat Pitt by bombing insanely deep punt after deep punt in a true victory for the battle of field position. And despite punting very well at Miami, Headley went undrafted, but after a legit competition in New Orleans, he outdueled fellow mullet wearer Blake Gillikin. Grow that shit back, Blake, and you too will get another shot. Headley's big leg and precise control of ball placement will now allow him to make the league minimum of $750,000 to punt for the Saints as a rookie at the age of 30. Probably more than he made in the 7 years he was scaffolding. You know you've made it when you get a shout out from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And Headley, who wore Dwayne Johnson's number from Miami, where The Rock played football, got that shout out.
Obviously I wore 94 because of The Rock, and he was my childhood hero, so wearing his number was pretty surreal, and it's pretty cool. And one of the best memories I've got is him at WrestleMania destroying Hulk Hogan with a couple of rock bottoms and a people's elbow, so I'd like to thank him for that. Made my childhood, and he sort of claimed GOAT status after that.
Am I jealous? Yeah, I am. Despite recapping every XFL game last season, I didn't get a single shout out from The Rock. From The Rock, which is why I haven't made it. Maybe I should get a neck tattoo.
Shut up, bitch!
All of these stories, though, are great. And the thing that stands out to me, besides perseverance, is that each one of these dudes took a different path to get to the NFL. Spring League, IPPP, Pro Kick, and a D2 school. If you want something, go get it. And if you live in Australia, your best chance to make it to the NFL is by dropping out of high school. School. Don't do it, kids. Don't do school.
School is for fools. Look at me.
Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube and come back for a very special Broncos video Friday or Saturday.